Okay, now we're going into a really important part of making this whole thing come together. Really starting to bring techniques in, simple, sort of common sense techniques that can really crack open your readings. And we're going to be covering just 4 pages in this video. A little section that's pretty easy to overlook. So I'm glad to be highlighting it in this important part of the workshop. Okay, suit combinations, major topic here. This picture illustrates the way that your brain can perceive a layout, right? It just feels like a lot of jumbled information. You know, there's colors, numbers, suits, all sort of mixing, mingling, creating a cocktail that can feel overwhelming. There's a lot of information on the table, even with just 4 cards, even with just 1 card. But when they start mixing together, you really need a way to sort through information. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So one of the very first things that I often look for to start making sense of what's on the table is compatible suits. And compatible suit combinations show you how cards are going to behave. You know, are they going to be on good behavior? You know, because every card has more challenging and more positive ways of expression. Cards can be real gifts in our lives, or they can be real stumbling blocks. So compatible suits is something that indicates cards are happy and expressing positive things in our life. So you can helps you choose which correspondences for any particular card that you're looking at. So let's take the compatible suits one by one. First compatible suit combination is hearts and spades. Now remember, hearts and spades are the 2 suits that are naturally at the bottom of the 4-card spread. Remember, the spade position is the bottommost card. Heart position is the position just above the spade position. It's like these 2 suits are lovers. Yes, that's right. Spades are like the arms that hold and comfort the trembling heart. And heart give feeling and compassion to the spades, which can otherwise get, hard and sort of, insensitive. So together they're better, and they share the same values, which makes it all work together. Both hearts and spades gravitate toward the most practical areas of life: family, home, career, those kind of things that, we look at from an outside perspective and sort of size people up by. So those are the area that they represent. Now, I just want to check something on the next screen. I want to go back. Let's look at this real quick for one more second. As an example of how this is going to help you interpret these cards, let's just take, for example, the 2 of spades here on the screen. If you know your meanings for the 2 of spades, you know it's a typically quite a difficult card. It's called the enemies. It's like 2 things pitted against each other. But when you bring in the softness and the compassion of the 3 of hearts, and you marry it with the 2 of spades, suddenly my enemy is not really my enemy anymore. You know, it's just someone who maybe has a different way of doing things than I do. Maybe it's calling out for, a confrontation of some sort, but, a friendly confrontation. Maybe there's somebody I really need to confront about something that's been going on, a necessary, difficult situation in my life. Maybe a friend hasn't been treating me too well, and I need to have a loving conversation and bring some tough things up. That's the kind of thing I could see represented by these two cards together. And I love the Three of Hearts there, the clutch, right? Which is all about, feeling both sides of a situation. It's the heart torn, right? It's like you want to be on one side or the other. You want to pit yourself against the other person with a Two of Spades situation, but you really can't with the Three of Hearts because you feel for both sides. But with the Two of Spades, we're going to take action, right? Spades gives necessary action to the Three of Hearts so that there's security there and trust. Okay, let's talk about the other compatible suit combination, diamonds and clubs. Now, any cards that show up together with a diamond suit and a club suit are going to be able to plug into each other and create this compatible suit combination. Just like on the last slide, any heart card and any spade card are going to complement each other and make each other better, just like we talked about in the specific example. So in this example, let's say we had a little mess of cards on the table, just like this, just like the picture. And we see the two club cards both touching on the diamond card. So I see both of those cards tapping into the energy of the diamond card. Kind of a tall order for that little 3 to balance out a big 9 and a big 6. And we've got the Two of Spades sort of encroaching on the picture there. But club cards and diamond cards are both better together because club cards provide ideas and well thought out plans for the diamond suit, the fire suit. Fire can be so impulsive. And when it's not clearly thought out, when there's not forethought and hindsight and all those important things that the impulsivity and the self-centeredness potentials of diamond cards can really take center stage. But club cards make all that better. Suddenly the Three of Diamonds can be really useful, really helpful. And the diamond cards provide the spark for all the ideas represented by club cards. Clubs on their own, air cards, are cold cards, dry cards, but the fire warms the air. We need the diamond energy to warm the club cards, to inspire them, to quicken them and help them put into action their ideas, because ideas alone are just ideas. They're not helpful to people. But when we combine them with diamonds, suddenly everything changes. Everything's better. So we could go into individual meanings of any cards and find ways that they balance each other out and create something that's productive. But just know that any potentially negative correspondences for either the Six of Clubs, the Three of Diamonds, or the Nine of Clubs there on the screen are going to be basically mellowed out and lessened, because usually the negative characteristics come in as the card appears in a very unbalanced way from a suit perspective within a larger spread, right? So, for example, well, we'll get to that in a couple slides. We're going to actually show that, what I want to talk about, but in a couple slides. So here's some other suit pairings. It's good to know how suits behave with each other outside of the compatible suits. The two compatible suit combinations we just talked about are your ideals. They're best case scenario for your clients. So I'm always looking for those first. I want to see compatible suits. That just means cards, as we say, are happy. But there are, of course, other combinations, and we need to know what characteristics these combinations bring out in the cards that appear. So we have these two types of pairings on the screen, the diamond spade combination and the heart club combination. Now I show these two particular combinations together here because these two are in many ways opposites. The top combination, diamonds and spades, is a very insensitive pairing. Neither fire nor earth in themselves are particularly sensitive, and when they come together, they create what I call the bulldozer. Get it done, right? Spade thinking, and get it done now. Diamond thinking, right now. No waiting, no thinking, no feeling, right? Thinking and feeling are the next combination, heart and club. This is all feeling, all thinking, no doing, right? But it makes a wonderful combination if, sensitivity is really called for in a particular situation. This is the artist, the healer, the counselor kind of combination. And it makes the interpretations more challenging, right? They're just more challenging. Can potentially be overly sensitive with the bottom two cards there. See? Okay. Other pairs. Here's another set of opposites. The red-red combination at the top and the black-black combination at the bottom. And we talk about the meaning of colors, right? What red means in a spread and what black means in a spread. And when you have cards together that create this bright red picture or this all black picture, you really have the color meanings coming through really strongly, and they're reflected by these suit combinations. So diamonds and hearts at the top, I'm terming the one night stand. It's full of passion and fury and flame. It's like oil and water in a hot pan. It sizzles, it pops. I should have called it the snap crackle pop combination. But, it's just kind of, let's have fun tonight and come what may tomorrow. And, it's not that that's bad or wrong. And in some instances, it may be perfectly what's called for. Let's say, it's a Halloween masquerade party, or it's something that really requires quick and bold action and a person's passion. Maybe this is an artist's combination, Okay, spades and clubs. This is the accountant's convention. So predictable. The red person would, just fall over dead in this kind of an environment created by the spade and club. Everything's so thought out. Action is taken, but only after every angle is looked at. This is the type of person who makes lists of pros and cons before they take action. And then they actually take the action that, the sheet of paper told them was the best plan of action. So nothing unpredictable going on here. No hearts involved, no passion. Just the head and practical action. Okay. And then, of course, if you have lots of the same suit in a spread, let's say you had a spread like this. Let's say, 5 club cards on the table. It just really emphasizes all the qualities of that suit. So I could look at the spread and go thinking. This person is thinking, and that's about it. They might be on the verge of going insane, right? No action, no practical plan, or no practical expression, I should say. No regard to how they actually feel about the situation, and no spark, no sunlight, no inspiration in their thinking. They're just running the treadmill with this one. See, so suits are so important to balance each other out. But for every card spread, there is an appropriate situation. So you never know what something could be representing. Okay, another major interpretation technique using suits is suit voids. This is a super fun technique, you guys. A really, really original technique that is super enlightening, super elucidating for your card spreads. This can be credited to my dad. So brilliant he was with cards. Okay, so a great way to approach this interpretation technique of suit voids is to consider your question, right? As always. So helpful to refer back to your question. So let's just start with this spread right here. And let's say we have a question like, I just met this guy online and I'm wondering what, it looks like for the future. I feel really good about it. What do the cards say? So let's look. So suit void means looking for negative space. Instead of looking at what suits are there, looking for what suit is missing. And already I could look at this and say, well, we have a compatible suit combination of the diamonds and clubs, so that's bringing out positive things. And then we have the bulldozer combination at the top of the spade and diamond. I could go on in that vein. But a critical question to ask is, what suit is missing? What is not on the table can be highly telltale. So especially in a love question like we just formulated for our example. I met this guy online. So there's no hearts. There's no love. Right? That's kind of like sums up my whole thing right there, doesn't it? And then the rest just fills in the blanks, the details. So now I could look further, and a very natural next step would be to look at what card is showing up in the heart position. What's in the heart of this person, this question? It's a card called the Friends. The Two of Clubs. A very cool element of clubs. So what could be more illustrative? What could be more illustrative? Yeah, they talk great. They could talk for hours, for days. And I love the 2 diamond cards flanking either side of the 2 of clubs, adding lots of insight, inspiration, humor. They love to talk. They share a lot of ideas. And they both really love ideas, talking, connecting with another person is so wonderful. And yet it never goes down to the heart level. It never penetrates into the passion. It stays very cerebral. And then you could juice more. We didn't even talk about the 6 of Spades or any of the specifics about, a bunch of stuff, but just the void really brings us to the crux of the matter. Okay, let's look at the next example. Okay, here's another spread, a cat layout. So we're looking into the future with these examples, right? This is what's down the road a piece. And then we have this. No spade, so we need a question, right? A heart void, a spade void, etc., will become less or more significant depending on the question, right? Our last example was a love question and there was no heart. So it becomes very significant. But what about this? Let's make up a question. Let's see. I'm thinking of changing careers and I'm not sure if that's the right decision. Okay. Well, spades are the suit of job and housing. But I do see a couple of money cards. So I see money, but there's no spade. And spades is about the routine, the discipline of showing up every day to a job, something that becomes a part of your daily routine. But there isn't any of that. So for this person, I could say, well, if you're thinking about changing jobs, I think it would need to be something very unconventional, right? Maybe a temporary job. Maybe you'd work as a freelancer, so that you wouldn't have to show up at an office. You could work, and from anywhere you want. Maybe you could travel and correspond. That would suit this person, pun intended, right? This person is not going to be happy with a 9 to 5 because of the void, and then, the spade void could be significant in any question, but probably particularly a job question, but even a love question. Is this person going to become a part of your daily life, or is it just about going on dates and then, they're nowhere to be found when you are, having, somebody you need to talk to when you come home from work at night? Who's there for you to tuck you in bed? Who's there in the morning on a Tuesday? Probably not that person. It's more about just having fun. Okay, now a different void, right? We're going through the suits one by one to look at different void examples. And we got 2 heart cards, a diamond, a spade. So lots of hearts, no air, no clubs, no communication. Again, let's make up a question. Let's say I'm going on vacation I'm thinking of booking a cruise with my friend, but I'm wondering if it's a good idea. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up on the spot. No communication. So, I think there's a lot of feeling between these two friends, but there's nothing being communicated. So if this person was to go on the cruise, maybe they wouldn't really be spending any time, sharing, from a compatible perspective that the clubs would represent. Somebody who's mentally compatible with you, sort of your peer from a mental standpoint. And in the club position of this spread, we have the Four of Spades, that north wind, which is a forceful wind. Could be a very bossy influence within the club position of the spread here. This is the way they're communicating, sort of harshly. So, it depends on the way this question would go, but maybe they're not even communicating about making trip arrangements. And when communication does happen, this person may feel like they're getting bulldozed. Or they may be bulldozing the other person. It would depend on the way the question was asked. Okay? And finally, no diamonds. No inspiration. So what if, let's see, I'm thinking of leaving my husband. Is that a good idea? People come to you with very serious questions, and you need to be confident in your answers. And suit voids are very helpful. Can help you deliver your reading with more confidence. So this is not a super inspired idea, is it, with the absence of diamonds? And another thing that we need to remember about the diamond suit is that diamonds indicate a person's self-esteem, your sense of identity. And with no diamonds on the table, I think this person is really struggling with finding her own identity in this question. And maybe she's thinking of leaving the husband to try to find herself. And yet, does she? If we're looking ahead in time here, I don't see diamonds here. I see a lot of other things we could talk about, but don't miss what's missing. So with Fortuna, interesting, at the bottom, right, I have extra club cards. What's taking the place of my missing card is an extra club card. And Fortuna's the one, remember? She's very experimental. She's kind of flaky. She can try on different hats or play different roles. She's a perfect representation of this person trying to find herself. She's trying all different kind of things on just to see if it might be her. Right? If it might spark something in her. Fortuna's in the foot position, so she's going around maybe trying different clubs, enrolling in all kinds of activities, going here and there, trying to find herself, maybe after years in a particular relationship where she really lost herself. But I'm not sure that leaving her partner is going to help her, right? It's not really showing that, is it? So, is it possible that with a little encouragement, help, direction, this client could learn to generate that diamond element, that fire, that self-esteem within herself while she's still in the relationship. Right? Maybe she doesn't have to leave the partner to find herself. And in this little 4-page section we're talking about in the playing card oracles, there's a section called Generating the Elements. Or wait, I guess it's in the same chapter, but maybe it's after that little 4 pages. It's in the same chapter called Determining the Weather. And it's called Generating the Suits. And it talks about each of the 4 suits or elements and how to generate each one to create a remedy, if you will, for certain situations. And in this particular situation, generating the fire suit, the fire element within herself, could majorly change her life. And that's what I would recommend to this client. Find yourself and do it in the relationship. You'll be doing yourself and your partner a favor, and I would use some of the recommendations from that little chapter about generating the fire element. So, your homework is to read these 4 pages for sure, and apply it to your readings. Practice laying some little cards, spreads out, even 2-card combinations. Lay 2 cards out and look at how they work together from a suit perspective, from an element perspective. Are they compatible or not? And write the key words or the key phrases that I gave you in this video down for each suit combination, right? So there's 6 possible suit combinations. Get good at this, and your readings will be easier, way easier. Easy. I hesitate to say easy, but I'm going to say it. Your readings will be easy because the cards will interpret themselves.